I'm live, but I'm very dark. Let's see, it's trying to compensate, I guess. I'm going to practice. I'm trying to find songs here and there to play, and it's a difficult chore. Sometimes I sit here for like hour, 45 minutes trying to find something I can play. And it's because sometimes things are orchestrated for multiple people or whatever. And sometimes you don't know for sure if they're going to translate. So I'm going to try one, and I'm not sure if it's going to work. Happens. I'm not also sure if I should sing it in a low. Shut up, dog. It's a 3rd of July, and our neighborhood is like Afghanistan, and there's shells going off every so often, and my dogs don't like it. So there'll be intermittent dog barks. There's one. And my parrot will likely go insane in the other room when I play guitar. She tends to do that. So hopefully it's not too loud in the background. I was saying that I'm not sure whether I should sing this in the regular register that Tina Turner sang it in, or if I should turn it into a dude song. I think I'm going to try to turn it into a dude version. So here we go. Let's see what happens. Auto scroll. You must understand, though the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. It's only the thrill of boy meeting girl, opposites attract. It's physical, only logical. I lost my place. I'm not sure if I like the lower register. Let's try it high and see what happens. You must understand, though the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. That is only the thrill of boy meeting girl, opposites attract. It's physical, only logical. You must try to ignore that it means more than that. Whoa, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Kind of screwed up right there, but that's why it's called practice. It may seem to you that I'm acting confused when you're close to me. If I tend to look dazed, I've read it someplace. I've got cause to be. There's a name for it. There's a phrase that fits. But whatever the reason, you do it for me. Whoa, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? My auto scroll always stops, and I'm not sure why. So let's go from the bridge. Fireworks, yay, illegal. I've been taking on a new direction, but I have to say, I've been thinking about my own protection. Scares me to feel this way. Whoa, what's love? Wait a minute. Whoa, what's love got to do? What to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? What's love? What's love got to do with it? What's love? No, what's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? What's love got to do with it? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Big rock ending on pop song. All right, well, I guess I'll keep that. Oh, hello, Johan. Do you know how to do the open close technique on snare? You talking about the actual snare, where you're flipping it open and close? Is that what you're saying? On drums. So you're a drummer, right, Johan? Yeah, it shows drums. Duh. Probably should have read ahead there. You mean going? Yes, you mean going from the snare sound to the open timbali sound. Yeah, I tend to not like to do that too much because my experience with the snare throws is that they break the more you use them, just like everything else. And with Star Classic drums that are many years old, I've got the Maple Star Classic Customs. If you wanted to get one of those new gold throws, they're going to be a lot of money if you can even find them. So that's why I tend to use my cheap side snare if I'm going to do the open timbali sound rather than the full snare. I bought that snare drum on the side for $3 and it was rusty, and I have a video on my channel if you want to see how I restored that snare on the side. Most of the time that snare gets used as a lyric or little note holder, or I put what else, my MP3 player on the side there so that I can not keep it in my pocket, and it's easier just to press the button and drop it right there. So I had experience with replacing the lugs on my Star Classic. I've had a couple of them break, and years ago I bought, I think, 2, and so I replaced the one, and one of them that came was a regular chrome color and one was gold, and I put the gold one on there, and then another one broke. So then I used the chrome one, and I thought, yeah, it's going to be fine. I'll have one chrome lug on my drums, and it won't bother me because I'll put it, it's in the back, and I won't see it. And I don't know what it is, but if you've got nice gear and you try to put something on it that isn't right, it just drives you nuts. And I kept thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and I got to find some replacements. So after a while, I'd had this on my drum. I could not find any from the factory, and I'm going, oh shoot, these drums are getting old. They're not going to make these gold lugs anymore. And I was lucky enough to find a guy on eBay that had a whole mess of them. I mean, he had like 30 or 40 of them, and he was selling them for like, I don't remember how much they were, maybe like $8 or $9 a piece. And I bought them all. and I've got them out in a container out in my garage because I decided I'm never selling these drums. They're top notch and I love them. So I wanted to have replacements forever. And I know there's a lot of guys looking for those that can't find them. And I understand companies have to march on and do new things and stuff, but it sucks when you've had a good set of drums for as long as I have, and you get exact replica parts. I got that Star Classic Custom. How old was I? I think I was 16 years old. So that's like 24 years. Wait, I got to learn how to add here. 34 years ago. And of course, thanks for the comment on the drum set being legendary. I've added a lot of stuff that isn't really legendary. It's a lot of inexpensive stuff that I found around the town in Craigslist, and I fixed it up. And honestly, they've done some videos of those kinds of things about how different do full-blown maple and birch drums sound compared to like mahogany or whatever. I've owned other kits that were mahogany, and I've had stuff that was birch. I had some what the heck were they? Not Sonors. They were Slingerland, which they sounded amazing. The Slingerlands were great, and they were birch, I believe. Man, those things rang for days, and they do sound really good. But that said, I had also a mahogany drum set that was an off-brand when I was a kid growing up named Kima. And aside from, like I told my son, aside from the hardware not being as good, like one of the things about those drums is you could place the head over the bearing edge of the top of it and place it on there, and there'd be a little bit of play from one side to the other where they didn't fit exactly perfect. But once you clamped them all down, if you looked at your lugs on all the good drums, everything is perfectly straight down, right? If you look at the off-brands, sometimes you got one that's a little bit crooked like that. Maybe it's leaning outward or inward or whatever. But by the time you tighten them all up, they still sound pretty good. So I'm not one of these purists that says you can't play if you've got crap drums, because honestly, there's guys out there with freaking plastic buckets that kick ass, that produce stuff that regular drummers with a good ass drum set can't do. And I'm not talking about Blue Man Group, because most of the stuff they do is pretty simple. It's more about their image. But let's see, how often do you replace your drum heads? That's the funny thing. It depends on what you get. So my whole life, I'm not about spending a lot of money on heads. As long as I could tighten them and beat on them, I'm happy. I'm not one of these dudes that says you have to get out a guitar tuner and make sure that every drum is in perfect pitch. I don't believe that. I think they're a percussive instrument, and I think they obviously should have a descending timbre from high to low, but I don't think that one of them is going to be like an A note and the other one's a C and all that stuff. I just don't buy that. I don't think anybody listens for that. And if you play a drum set over a 3-hour night, like I did many years, you're going to be playing songs in all different keys. And it's not like you can't hit your one tom if it's not in perfect pitch with the song or something like that. So, I don't buy that tuning stuff. But back to the heads, I pretty much beat on them until they break. And if you get a good solid snare head, I get the ones with double layer. They last for a long time, until they just shatter, usually. I don't really get many of the kind of like depressions in the middle that go too bad, because I keep them real tight. I play the snare tight like Neil Peart did. I don't like the big boomy 80s snare drum. I like the tight snare drum. And the toms, literally those black heads that I've had on there, been on there probably 8 or 9 years. I don't even know. Might be longer than that. And I know you could see a lot of marks on them and stuff, but as long as I tighten them up every so often, they still sound good. And I don't mind if they get a little bit loose and then they sound more tribal to me, because they got the black injection in them anyway. I like that kind of robust tom sound. For years, I played the clear pinstripes, and they ring more than these black ones do. But sometimes it can be annoying depending on the song if you want it to just boom and drop out. I know a lot of guys put like those mutes on them, and I can't stand that. I used to do that when I was a kid. I had Ludwigs where you put mutes, on the drum head. There's no drum head on the bottom, so you use the mute on the top head, and then it would come out sounding pretty cool. But I like the double heads now because they ring more and they just sound more like a jazz rock fusion kind of sound like Bert. I rather have a Pearl BLX. I love Pearl drums. I played in Rulian for about 2-3 years, the instrumental group, and I played Pearl Stage Master or something like that, which it wasn't a super high line of drums, but they sounded great. I heard Tama has pretty good, strong snare heads. I don't know. I'm still using Remos, which are double-headed, clear kind of. I don't know. I played Code. I've had Coded. I used to do Black Dots when I was young, but I've since realized that Black Dots are not the same as when I was a kid. They're not as good. They don't last as long. The double layer borderline hazy clear ones seem to last longer. I'm not sure what the line is called. I've got it out there. It's not Weather King. That was a Coded one, I think. I can't remember anymore. Some guys have jumped to those Aquarians, which I saw. Who was it? Oh boy, what was that guy's name? He was one of those heavy metal guys that played with Dio. Only used one kick drum, and he has Appice. Not Vinny Appice, but Carmine Appice. And he was pushing Aquarian heads. And I saw him do a clinic. I thought his drums sound like crap. So I never used any Aquarian or anything like that. Let's see. Tom Tom's bark kind of like Phil Collins. Yeah, with the black heads, they do kind of have that drier sound. Like the Phil Collins drums, he played with the open bottom head, which I did like on the Ludwig for a lot of years. But the other guy, Chester Thompson, played with double heads. And I saw him also at a clinic, and that guy is a badass. Chester Thompson is a great, great drummer. And of all of the different guys that I've seen at drum clinics live, which isn't a mass number of guys, but I've seen maybe 30 of them, something like that. The ones that impressed me the most was Vinny Colaiuta and Chester Thompson. And I saw Vinny Colaiuta at a UCLA drum clinic with a whole bunch of good guys. And to me, he was the best one. He did a lot of cymbals that was just cymbals more than Tom fills. He was all over cymbals. And that was really cool. Chester, though, he's got more of those Cuban and Latin grooves, which I don't really play that kind of music, but nonetheless, watching him play was badass. And then, of course, you watch him with Genesis. He was really great. I think it's fair to agree. Most people probably agree that he's a better drummer than Phil Collins, but Phil Collins gets a lot of play, obviously, because he's the leader of the group. So anyway, that was my first attempt at What's Love Got to Do with It. I tell you what, I would play more drums right now, but it is so freaking hot where I am. And I know a lot of people are torching in summer here. And the guitar is just so easy because I can get in my room here and, turn the air conditioner off for 5 minutes and sweat a little bit. But I'm in the evening now, so it's not that warm. But I really like getting at the guitar. I'm not nearly as good at guitar as I am drums, but I'm getting better over the time here. And yeah, concert toms are cool. What's cool is when they used to sell the some places still do. You can get those little bitty concert toms that are like 6 and 8 inch, and put them off to the side or whatever if you don't have a 8-inch tom on your kit already. That's why I made that 5 and 6 inch drum on the side of my kit. Although one of them is open, I made one with both heads on it, and that was really fun creating drums. they got different sounds, and I got those heads from Darbukas on there originally, and the Darbuka heads didn't last as long. And then I found these heads. I don't remember what company. It was some Indian company, or I might have been over in Egypt or something. And those heads are pretty good. They're thin, but if you don't overly beat on those things, I think I can get some miles out of them. And I bought a few extras just in case. That's what I've learned over the years. If you're going to buy something and you are going to play your drums a lot for years, buy extras and keep them in your drum room, because eventually you're going to need that stuff and you might not be able to find it the next time. So stock up on all your crap, and once you find something good, keep using it, buy extras. One time I bought this drum head that was very thick, and it had like strings hanging off the side of it. I think it was real animal hide or something like that. And stupid me, I went to a gig without really trying it out too much, and I put it on there, and it muted the tone of my snare by about 50%. And I'm beating on it as hard as I can. I'm going, there's no volume coming out of it. And the guitar player, before we started playing, he looks over at me and he goes, "What's with your drum?" I said, "I got a new head on it." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, it sucks." So that's another thing. If you're going to go play live, make sure that your new stuff, you actually like it before you take it out with you, because that could end up being a drag. So anyway, this has been a Tina Turner guitar cover / drum talk, and that was cool. And have a good night, everybody. Johan, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And I'll see you soon.